Okay, I want to start today with a little visualization.
All right, I'm ready.
So, just for a second, assuming you're not driving or anything, I want you to picture the phrase heart disease.
Right.
What's the very first image that pops into your head?
Oh, that's easy. It's biology. It's a diagram in the doctor's office,
Total.
clogged arteries, maybe some cholesterol medication, bypass surgery.
Mm.
It's scary, but it's purely physical.
Exactly. We think plumbing, we think about valves and pumps. But today, we're going to flip that definition completely on its head.
Okay.
We're doing a deep dive into a piece of writing that argues the most dangerous heart conditions have, well, absolutely nothing to do with your blood pressure. They're spiritual.
It's a pretty radical shift in perspective.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a brand new blog post published just today, February 4th, 2026.
Right.
It's by Mark Wells on the Knowledge is King platform, and the title is simply Diseases of the Heart.
And when I first saw that title, I honestly thought it was going to be about, diet or exercise or something.
Me too.
But the second you start reading, you realize this is something else entirely. It's like a spiritual autopsy.
That's a perfect description. An autopsy on human character. Wells is drawing from these really deep, ancient traditions, specifically Islamic psychology.
And in that tradition, the heart isn't just a muscle.
No, not at all. It's the seat of the human being. It's the cockpit. It's where your consciousness, your morality, your decision-making, it's where all of that actually lives.
So when he talks about a sick heart, he's not talking about needing a stent or something.
Not even close. He's talking about the internal barriers that stop us from being decent human beings.
He calls them invisible ailments.
Exactly. The things we usually just brush off as like personality quirks or a bad mood.
Oh, that's just how I am.
Right. Oh, I'm just a jealous person, or I'm just a bit short-tempered. And Wells's whole argument is that these aren't just traits, they are pathologies. They're diseases.
And they follow the exact same rules as what? A virus?
Or
An infection?
the exact same rules. And that was the hook for me,
Yep.
that medical metaphor.
Me too, because it changes how you look at yourself.
Completely.
If I'm jealous of my coworker, I usually just think, man, I wish I had their job. I don't think.
You don't think, I am currently suffering from an acute infection of the soul.
Exactly. And that reframing is the whole point.
It is. Because if you think of it as just a feeling, you kind of indulge it. You let it ride.
But if you identify it as a disease...
You treat it. You try to cure it.
Okay, so let's get into the anatomy of this, because he doesn't just say it's a disease and then move on. He actually breaks down the pathology, how it incubates.
Yeah, and it tracks with physical illness almost perfectly.
Yeah.
Wells explains it starts small. It's like a sniffle.
Okay.
Maybe it's a single lie you tell to get out of trouble.
Mm.
Or maybe it's that fleeting moment of envy when you see someone succeed and you feel that little pang of resentment.
The stuff we ignore like 10 times a day.
All the time.
Yeah.
But Wells argues that if you leave that untreated, if you don't apply the antibody of, say, truth or gratitude right then and there,
It grows.
it grows. It starts to multiply. And just like a high fever can make you hallucinate, a spiritual disease starts to cloud your judgment. You literally stop seeing reality clearly.
Which brings me to my favorite part of the article, the vital signs. I love a good diagnostic tool.
It's brilliant. In a hospital, we check your pulse, your blood pressure.
Right.
Wells says the vital signs of the spiritual heart are twofold. First, how do you interact with the world? Specifically, with people who can do nothing for you.
The waiter test.
The waiter test, the
Yes.
traffic test, yep. But the second vital sign is the one that really, it stings. He asks, how do you feel when you are completely alone?
The 2-on-0 AM test.
That's the one, because you can be the most charming person at a dinner party. You can smile, say all the right things, donate to the right charities.
Put on a great show.
A great show.
Yeah.
But when you're alone in the dark, staring at the ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
what is the quality of that silence?
Oof. That hits home, because if that silence is filled with anxiety or resentment or
replaying arguments from 5 years ago?
then you're symptomatic.
You are symptomatic. That internal turmoil is the spiritual equivalent of a 104-degree fever. It means the system is fighting something. It means you aren't at peace.
It really reframes peace of mind. We usually think of peace as like a luxury, a spa day.
Right. A bonus.
But Wells is framing it as the baseline of health. If you don't have it, you're sick.
Exactly. It's not a bonus, it's the standard.
Okay, so we've established the pathology. It starts small, it distorts reality, and it ruins your peace. So now I want to get into the specific diagnoses.
The medical textbook of the ego.
Yes. He lists these specific terms, some from Arabic origins, and I want to unpack them because the definitions are so much more nuanced than just being a jerk.
And the specificity is really important here. The terms describe the mechanism of the disease, not just the symptom.
Okay, so let's start with the first category, the ego-based struggles. The terms he uses are takabur and kibur.
Pride and arrogance, the heavy hitters, the root of almost everything else.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate for a second. I read this and I thought, okay, but we live in a culture that basically runs on self-promotion.
It does.
You have to believe in yourself to get a job. You have to be confident to pitch an idea. Is he saying we should all be, I don't know, insecure, meek?
It's a great question, and it's one he anticipates. The source makes this critical distinction between confidence and kib.
Okay.
Confidence is knowing your worth and your capabilities. Kib, or arrogance, is believing your worth makes you better than someone else.
Ah, so it's the comparison.
It's the hierarchy. He uses this really powerful image of the wall.
A wall.
He says arrogance builds a wall between you and other people, but even more dangerously, between you and the truth.
What does that mean, between the self and the truth?
Well, think about the most arrogant person you know.
Okay.
Are they teachable?
Definitely not. No, they think they know everything already.
Exactly. Wells argues that arrogance is a disability because it stops growth. If you believe you've arrived, you stop moving. You stop listening.
You stop reflecting on your mistakes because you don't think you make any.
Right. So while the arrogant person feels powerful, they're actually stagnant. They are stuck behind their own wall.
That's a great flip. We usually see the arrogant person as the winner in the room.
But he's painting them as the loser because they've stopped evolving.
Yeah.
They are structurally incapable of learning. That is a disease.
Wow. Okay, let's move to the second category. This one felt very, very modern to me, especially with social media. Social toxins,
Hasad and Heed.
jealousy and hatred.
And Hasad is a fascinating one. We translate it as jealousy, but it's a bit more specific than that.
Wells uses the metaphor of a slow-burning fire.
It's so visceral. The source argues that jealousy is unique because it's a crime against yourself.
What do you mean?
Well, we usually think, I'm jealous of that guy, so I'm sending bad vibes his way.
Right, I hope he fails. I hope his startup crashes. Something like that.
But look at the mechanics of it. If you're sitting there stewing in jealousy over someone's promotion, does that take the promotion away from them?
No. They're probably out celebrating.
They're sleeping soundly. They're fine. But you're
miserable.
burning up. Your heart rate is up. You're anxious. You're bitter. Wells argues that Hasad consumes the person who carries it.
It's like that old saying, drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
It is literally that. But it goes even deeper. Wells points out that jealousy is fundamentally a rejection of reality.
How so?
It's looking at the world and saying, the distribution of blessings is wrong. That should be mine. It puts you in a state of constant friction with the way things actually are.
That sounds absolutely exhausting.
It just depletes the immune system of the soul. And hatred is similar. It's described as holding the heart hostage.
Hostage?
Yeah. If you hate someone, you are tethered to them. You carry them around in your pocket all day long.
This actually connects to another piece I saw in the Knowledge is King feed. I think it was called The Armor of Anger.
Yes. That was a companion piece, When We Hate to Hide the Truth.
Right. And it made the point that we often use anger or hatred as a shield.
To hide our own vulnerabilities. And this is where the diagnosis gets really interesting. Often, hate isn't actually about the person you hate.
It's a projection.
It's a total projection.
Yeah.
If I can focus all my energy on how terrible you are, I never have to look in the mirror. I never have to face my own insecurities.
So hatred is just a distraction strategy.
It's a defense mechanism. But it's a really costly one because it keeps the heart sick. You can't heal what you refuse to look at.
Okay, let's look at the third category. This one. This one felt the most relevant to me personally. The loss of presence. The term is ghafila.
Apathy or heedlessness.
When I read this, my brain immediately went to doom scrolling. You know that state?
Oh, I know it well.
You're physically in the room, but your brain is gone. You're just swiping.
That is definitely the modern symptom. But ghafila is deeper than just boredom. Wells describes it as a heart that has fallen asleep.
Asleep to what?
To meaning, to purpose. It's autopilot living. You wake up, you commute, you work, you eat, you watch a show, you sleep. You are biologically alive. Your cells are dividing, your heart is pumping.
But spiritually, you're comatose.
You're comatose. You aren't reflecting on why you're here. You aren't feeling gratitude. You're just consuming time.
That is terrifying. It sounds like being a zombie.
In a spiritual sense, it is. And Wells argues this might be the most widespread disease of our era because our entire economy is built to induce ghafala.
The distraction industrial complex.
Exactly. If you're constantly entertained, constantly getting notifications, constantly simulated, you never have to sit in that silence we talked about.
You never have to check your vital signs.
You can live your entire life without ever actually waking up.
Okay, so just to recap the diagnosis here. We have pride building walls around us so we can't learn. We have jealousy burning us alive from the inside. And apathy turning us into zombies.
Yeah.
I have to ask, is the point of this article just to make us feel terrible? Because this deep dive is getting heavy.
It feels that way, right?
Yeah.
It feels like a condemnation. But this is the pivot. This is the most important part of his whole argument.
Okay.
He says it explicitly. Diseases are meant to be cured.
So there's a treatment plan.
There is.
Yeah.
And think about it. Framing these things as diseases is actually the most hopeful thing you can do.
How so?
Because you don't judge a disease. You treat it. You don't hate yourself for having a sore throat. You take medicine.
That's a huge relief. So I don't have to identify as an angry person. I'm just a person suffering from a bout of anger.
Exactly. It separates you from the condition. It makes it solvable.
What's the medicine? Is it meditation? Is it, I don't know, running away to a mountaintop?
It's actually much more active than that. Wells proposes this concept of treatment by opposites.
Treatment by opposite.
The cure is often the direct opposite action of the ailment.
Okay, give me a concrete example.
So let's look at kiz, or lying.
Yeah.
We all do it, exaggerations, white lies to make ourselves look better.
Sure.
Wells identifies this as a sickness. The cure isn't just trying not to lie. The cure is Siddiq truthfulness. But it means actively forcing yourself to embody truth, even when it's uncomfortable.
So if I have the impulse to lie to make myself look cool, I have to force myself to say the raw, unvarnished truth.
Yes. You break the fever by cooling the body down. Or take annoia, selfishness, the me-first disease. The cure is active generosity.
So not just not being selfish.
No, that's passive. The cure is active. If you feel tight-fisted, if you feel like hoarding your time or your money, you force your hand open. You give, you volunteer, you tip extra.
You do the physical action that contradicts the disease.
Exactly. It's like physical therapy. It hurts at first, but it rebuilds the muscle.
It rewires the heart.
It does. And the goal isn't perfection. The goal is a specific state of health. And I want to quote the source directly here because it just sums it all up so beautifully.
Please do.
Wells writes, "A healthy heart is one that is free from the desire to harm and the pride that looks down on others."
Free from the desire to harm. Wow, that is a high bar.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's a destination worth walking toward.
I want to zoom out for a minute because diseases of the heart doesn't exist in a vacuum. We touched on the armor of anger.
Right.
But I'm seeing a pattern across the whole knowledge is king log. How does this fit into Mark Wells's broader worldview?
You're right. There is a very distinct thread here. If you look at his other titles, things like The Normalized Shadow or Stop the Flattening, he's fighting a very specific battle.
Which is?
He's arguing against what I'd call the externalization of our problems.
Meaning, we like to blame the world for how we feel.
We love it. We blame the economy, we blame the government, our parents, our exes. And look, he acknowledges those things matter. Of course they do. But in The Normalized Shadow, he argues that destructive traits are cultivated within.
So we aren't just victims of our bad moods, we're the architects of them.
We feed them.
Yeah.
We water them. It's a call for radical responsibility. And that connects back to another title I saw in the feed. Truth is a pursuit, not a possession.
I like that distinction.
It implies work. You don't just have a healthy heart. You maintain it. You monitor it.
Right, like you don't have fitness, you have to go to the gym every week.
It's the same thing. Truth and health are active pursuits.
There was one more title that really stood out to me. True freedom is a tool, not a choice.
Ah, that's the closer. That concept just flips the modern idea of freedom on its head.
Because we usually think freedom means I can do whatever I want, whenever I want.
Infinite options. Right. But Wells argues that if your heart is sick, if you are enslaved by jealousy or addicted to validation or controlled by your anger, you are not free. You are a slave to your impulses.
So real freedom is the ability to do what's right, not just what's easy.
Precisely. Real freedom requires the self-discipline to cure these diseases. You have to be in the driver's seat, not your ego.
If you can't control your anger controls you.
And that is not freedom.
So the deep dive here, the big takeaway, is that Wells is asking us to stop flattening ourselves.
Yeah.
We aren't just consumers or employees or voters. We are complex spiritual machinery that needs maintenance.
And that maintenance is uncomfortable work.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to admit they're arrogant. Nobody wants to look at their own envy. It's ugly.
It really is.
But he argues that looking that autopsy is the only way to get better.
Which brings it all back to the person listening right now. Maybe they're on the train, maybe at the gym. What do they do with all this?
I think it means realizing that your character is not fixed in stone. That's the most important thing. You can change.
Right.
Those traits you hate about yourself, they're just vital signs. They are indicators of a condition that can be treated.
It's not a life sentence.
Not at all. But self-awareness is the prerequisite for the cure.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to diagnose yourself honestly. You have to take that 22-OGZ-AM test.
It's a spiritual checkup.
It is. And I'll leave you with this thought, which really hit me as I was processing all this today.
Okay.
Imagine if you woke up tomorrow morning with a 104-degree physical fever. What would you do?
Oh, I'd cancel everything. I'd go to the doctor. I'd take the meds. I'd sleep.
Immediately.
Huh.
You wouldn't wait a week. You'd prioritize it above everything else.
Of course.
So here's the question. If we treated our jealousy or our apathy or our little lies with the exact same urgency as a high fever, how different would our lives look by tomorrow morning?
How different would our relationships look?
Exactly. We prioritize the body, but we neglect the engine.
That is a lot to process, but in the best way possible. It's a real call to action.
It just changes the priorities, doesn't it?
Well, consider my vital signs checked. A huge thanks to Mark Wells and the Knowledge is King blog for the source material today. It was a heavy one, but a necessary one.
A very, very thought-provoking read.
And to everyone listening, thanks for diving in with us. Take a minute today, maybe at 2 a.m., maybe just on your lunch break, and check in on that internal machinery. We'll catch you next time.